Hello everybody! Welcome to Kevin Plays Disc Golf. Today we have a course update from Westy Acres in Greenfield, Massachusetts. My name is Kevin and I play disc golf. Today is June 25th, 2026, and over the winter, Westy Acres updated their casual course from a 27-hole course to a 30-hole course. So my intent here is to give updates on what has happened. Currently, we are at the basket of hole 8, so the first 9 holes have not changed at all. The first thing that I have noticed is a difference is that there are signs up for hole B, hole C, right around the hole 8 basket, and a lot of the brush has been cleaned up, so it's a lot easier to see where we are going. Next change is on hole 9 where the gold basket is. Some of the brush has been cleaned up around where the basket is. Though it does not make the hole significantly easier, it does provide a clearer opportunity and less awkward putts right around the green. To get from the basket of 9 to hole B, we do have some more signage here that is a little bit better than it was previously. We have a couple different signs on the ground, and if we follow along this path here, we can see that though the path is the same, some more of the brush has been taken down around the path. There is some signage improvements as well, and it is better to see what's going on where there are conflicts and intersections. There are these small signs here which make it very easy to see where you're going. Other than that, the route itself is exactly the same. Going from hole B to hole C does follow the same path as previously, but again, it has been cleared out and is much easier to follow. Next, for hole C, there is a brand new tee pad, a wooden platform with turf on top. This is a significant improvement over the dirt tee. The fairway maintenance previously was my biggest gripe on hole C. However, now that has largely been taken care of, and it's much easier to find a disc that's in the grasslands in the fairway where it's not going to be in the bushes with what should be a decent tee shot. From the basket of hole C, the gold, blue, and white tee location has changed. So to get from the basket of C to the blue, white, and gold tee for hole D, we need to go past the purple and red tees for hole D, which I believe these are unchanged from where they were previously. And if we head up towards the barn, we can see the blue, white, and gold tees for hole D. This is going to change hole D for these tees a little bit as well, so I will go through the options for that. Hole D for the white, blue, and gold tees is now a 348-foot par 3. Downhill, the basket is in the same position it was previously. However, it's much more difficult to get there from this location than it was from the prior location. We cannot see the basket from here. However, we can see the flag on top of the basket if we look through that sumac or oak bush just over the crest of the hill. There is a lot of open fairway to both the right and the left here, so you have a lot of options as far as how to get there. Just as before, it does play significantly downhill, so though it's 348 feet, it is reachable and plays quite a bit shorter than that. The far corner of that triangle area is right where that oak or sumac bush is, and beyond that, the fairway is open all the way from there to the basket. So if you can make it to that bush and past that, you'll be out in clear area. So with me playing forehand, I took the left route, and though I did sky it a little bit, I am safe in the fairway over there. Here we are at the crest of the hill, just off the tee box, and we can see that bush and the two fairways where they do come together and become one just after that. Based on the tee sign, there was an out of bounds area right around where that tree is, and there is some cutting down of this area in the middle that is happening, so that may continue. So that may be a long-term plan to open up this fairway more and just have this tree and these bushes here be the out of bounds area for the hole. There is one more grassy area past where those bushes are, but it is significantly smaller than the other one, and if a disc goes in there, it will not be too difficult to find it. If we take a right from the basket and continue along the river, we can see the red and purple tee, which is in the same location that the white, blue, and gold tees were previously. For the purple and red configurations, this is now a par 4 instead of a par 3 from the prior tee location of where the white, blue, and gold were. To get to the white, blue, and gold tees, we continue past the purple and red tees and continue along this path and take a left. And up here, we have the new white, blue, and gold tees for hole E. One other thing that I will point out here is that there is an ancient homemade basket back there. If you want to get a few more random practice putts in on something ancient, there you go. For the white, blue, and gold layouts, hole E is now a 420-foot par 4, severe dogleg left. We can see the couple of trees out in the middle of the fairway. We want to take a significant left turn right about where the leftmost tree kind of in the middle of the fairway is. The further left we can go here, the better off we are. This shot is less about placement and more about getting through the line of trees and out into the open if you can get there. It's a little bit difficult to see from this angle, but from the right side of the tee, there is a gap and another pair of trees that you can make it inside of with a shot that moves from right to left, and just getting through that gap is the ideal situation. That moved too far left too soon, hit a couple trees, but did drop down out into the open where I should have a reasonable second shot. Based on what I'm seeing behind the tee, it would not surprise me if either the blue or gold tees got pushed further back, either across the field, or if some more cutting of brush was done to push it even farther back. There's also a hill up there, so maybe you could go crazy and have that be a par 5 with this area here being the landing zone off the tee. Here is the cluster of trees that we need to get around and through. The big one on the right here is the one that we can see off the tee. So there are reasonable gaps here as long as you can hit them, which I failed to do, and I did not make it far enough to get around the corner. So I'm going to have a tricky second shot here. From here, we can see a clear path to the basket. So if my disc had gone another 20 feet further and ended up in this opening, that would have been a near perfect drive. So again, you don't need to get distance off the tee. It's more important just to make it out to this area. And really cutting the corner closer is probably the safer bet, so you don't have to deal with the out of bounds bushes in the middle of the fairway up there on the right. From here, the hole is the same as previously. The basket is in the same location as it had been. All right, now on to two new holes on this course. To get to the hole F from the basket of hole E, and this is the new hole F. If we continue past the basket, just ahead we have what was the old hole F, which is now hole H. the white tees for that. If we take a left, we have the blue and gold tees for the new hole H. And just to the left of that, we have the white, blue, and gold tees for the new hole F. The new hole F is a 415-foot par 4, long dogleg left where the dogleg never ends. The direction of the basket is kind of directly over these trailers on the left and through the woods there. My suspicion is that for the gold tee, the intent is, the reason why it's a par 3 is because you can probably shorten the distance and go spike hyzer up over everything if you've got that distance. I do not, so I will be going out into the field. The further out into the field you can go, the better off you are. You see the little structure out in the distance with the that looks like it has a protective net on it. If you can get out that far, it really is to your benefit to get way out there to be able to see the basket from there. From here, just to the right of the shed, we can also see the red and purple tees, which play as 328 feet, either par 4 for the red or par 5 for the purple. This hole also does play downhill on the second shot. But again, for this first shot, it's just kind of try and get it as far out there as you can. Well, my throws have not been that great off the tee today, and that was supposed to flip up, but didn't, so I am way right of where I want to be. Here we are at the red and purple tees, and this is a good sign that even from here, we cannot see the basket. It is still way far around to the left. The large tree that's in the middle of the fairway area there, that's a good marker, but you really do want to be to the right of that. Editing Kevin here. As I was updating this section of the video, Westy Acres just posted on their Facebook page that they are adding out of bounds between hole F and G. So it's very likely my drive would have been out of bounds, and the upcoming shot that is taken next to the fence on hole G is also in an out of bounds location. Thanks to Westy Acres for letting me use their photos here. The camera is now on the top of the basket for hole G. We can see that large bush in the middle of the fairway, and it is further open to the right here, but you can see from here we still cannot see the basket. It is tucked down into the cove on the left, kind of in the direction of about 3/4 of the way from the center of that large bush to the right edge is the direction of the basket. So again, you can see if we go further right here, then that is still an option. Just looking at some of the growth that's happening here, there is a chance that there may be some gardens going up here and that there may be some out of bounds right of the camera shot as well. I put too much anhyzer on that and went into that large bush. I wanted to be significantly to the right of where that ended up. Here we are next to the fence-like structure that is protecting a bush from the tee of hole G. And if we go to the left, we can see the tee for hole G, and we can finally see the basket for the new hole F. You can see it is a fairly small green and tucked down around the corner there. That's one that, as a par 3 from the gold, is it possible to get there? Yes, but it's more likely that you're going to end up losing a disc deep in the brush off the fairway. And now for my third shot, you can see what I've got to contend with. I still have to go way out right to make it around the corner. Even though that's going to be a long par putt, I'm pretty happy with that. Just getting out where I can see the basket was the primary goal there. A couple of things I will point out about this green is that the brush all the way around is fairly dense. Even though my disc is barely in the brush, it took me a solid 5 minutes and having to review the video to figure out exactly where it went. There's also a significant downslope behind and to the right of the basket. So if you're long, that's where you're going to end up. You also have the tree that is directly above us, that this definitely comes into play for anything approaching the basket. The good news is that you can probably hit this tree, and if you hit it soft enough, it should drop down and leave you with a decent putt. Having 3 bad shots and ending up with a 5 on that hole is not too bad. To get from the basket of new hole F to the tee for new hole G, if you take a right with your back to the tee and follow along the tree line here, there is a nice mowed section that you can walk along. And just at the other side of this, we have the tee pad for hole G. The new hole G is a 307-foot par 3 for white, blue, and gold. It is a 242-foot par 3 for the red and a 242-foot par 4 for the purple. From here we can see the red and purple tee just ahead to the left. This is significantly uphill, and there is a mando to go left of that fenced structure. We can see the flag on top of the basket on the right edge of the screen here. And because of the mando, this plays significantly left to right, and the mando is there in large part to keep the fairways from new hole F and new hole G separated for safety reasons. Since I've been throwing everything going further right than I've been wanting to today, maybe I can continue that on this hole. I'm well past the mando, and I am way left of where I wanted to be, but I can at least see the basket from where I am. Here we are at the crest of the hill, and I have about 135 feet left. So it's long, but I've been really good with these approaches today, so let's hope that continues. Short and left, but I will have a par putt from there. And putt for par. I'll take the drop in for bogey. To get from the basket of hole G to the tee for hole F, if we continue left past this shed and follow the little gravel dirt path here, the new hole H is the same as the old hole F. So this should look very familiar here. The tee pad may have been moved. It's possible that the tee pad for old F and new F got swapped, but they're close enough where I can't really tell. But eventually we will come to the blue and gold tees for the new hole H. I'm playing the white tees today. I'm not feeling up to playing the blues, so I have been playing the whites, and this is the first time on these holes where there is a significant change. And we can continue on up to the white tee, and the red and purple tees are in the same location they were previously. The only obvious change I can see from new hole H to old hole F is that there is no more Prius in Prius Island. So the Prius is gone, but otherwise everything else is the same. Here at hole H, there is another rerouting of the holes. So although the next few holes were on the previous layout, they are now being played in a different order. There's also a new path going from the basket of hole H to the tee for hole I. So if we look just past the basket of H, there is a next tee sign, and we can take a right down this new path here. And again, this is a brand new path, so it is a little rough, but with time, this will definitely wear in, as many of the other paths have done. There are blue flags here marking the path, which is good. It's also a very obvious path. So far, there are no other branches or ways to potentially get lost. And the ground here is marshy, so these pallets are justified being here to keep out of the marshy areas. And we get here, and here we are at the gold, blue, and white tees for hole I. And the basket is on top of the hill, just to the right of that electric pole. The red and purple tees over there, those are for hole 11, not for hole I. To get to the red and purple tees, which I believe are in the same place that they were previously, we do have to go over the tee pad for hole 11, across the bridge, and then take a right turn. And there we have the red tee for hole I. And if we walk over to the red tee and we take a left up this path, we end up at the purple tee for hole I. Here we have a slight rerouting of the holes. Here we are at the basket for hole I. Previously from here we went to hole 12. However, now we are going to hole 10. So if we walk straight past the basket of hole I and walk over in the direction along where these electric poles are, right here we end up at the white, blue, and gold tees for hole 10. Hole 12 is where we have our next major change. So for the 30-hole course, hole 12 gets broken up into two different holes. So there's a 12A and a 12B. Another thing that is different is that the white tee for hole 12 is now up on a platform. So we started off with the gold tees. We have the blue, red, and purple tees straight ahead where they were previously. I believe the white tee and blue tee shared the same tee before, but now we have this white tee that is going up to the left. And if we look over here, we have this huge new platform that has been built. This is fairly impressive here. And go up the stairs. And here we have the white tee for hole 12 and for hole 12A. As I'm playing the 30-hole course, I will be playing hole 12A. Hole 12A for the white, blue, and gold tees is 468 feet. It's par 4 for the white, par 3 for the blue and gold. Here we are at an elevated tee, and we cannot see the basket from the tee, but it is roughly in line with the small tree on the right edge of the fairway that is part of that twin tree setup that is maybe 50 feet off of the tee box itself. That's the direction it's going. The main fairway is going to go straight, and you do go along the fairway, and then you take a right into the woods. So it's kind of a gradual right-hand turn that goes sharp right at the end. We can see the red and purple tees off to the left, and that is the red and purple tee for hole 12A, and also the red tee for hole 12. This is also the white tee for the tournament hole 12, a 700-foot par 5. That is right, but I don't think it got far enough to the right to make it to the creek out of bounds. Here we are at the red and purple tees for hole 12A. And from here we can see the purple basket, which is what we are going to. That is just down the center of the tree cluster in the middle. Obviously the better way to go is to stay left and go to the right at the end. From here we can see the flag on top of the basket right in the middle of the picture. I'm ahead and to the right down the hill a little bit here after I chipped up my second shot to get back into the fairway. I think that skipped a little long of the basket, but that should be fine. The green here does slope away from the fairway fairly steeply down to this flat area that the basket is in. You do have to go quite a ways past the ferns to get to the out of bounds here where the basket is. I'm in the ferns, but I have a reasonable par putt here. It's been a while since I've had a par, so hopefully I can drain this one. Dead center, that felt good. To get from the basket of 12A to the tee of 12B, we want to go across the fairway and back up the fairway a little bit across the main hole 12 fairway if you are playing the full hole 12, and come across here. And here we have the tee pad for hole 12B for all of the course configurations. Hole 12B is 393 feet. It is a par 5 for purple, par 4 for red and white, and par 3 for yellow and blue. This goes to the same basket as the main hole 12. We can see the basket from the tee, though it is very difficult to see. If we go through that cluster of trees straight off in the distance, we can see the left half of the basket sticking out from behind those trees. Again, here, there's out of bounds past the river on the right, and there is a hazard area through a small creek in front of the basket, creating sort of an island hole type setup. Well, I tried to aim for the tree and miss, and I missed the first tree, but not the second tree. Here we have a little bit better view of the basket and the island through the trees in the center. I'm close enough where I should be able to get it to the green from here. Too much anhyzer on that, but it did roll through the hazard and did come out the other side by about 5 feet. Maybe more like 3 feet, but 3 feet on the correct side of the hazard is still on the correct side of the hazard. So I have a long birdie putt here. No birdie, but a drop in for par.
After hole 12, there are no new changes of note for the remainder of the course. Having seen some older videos of Westy Acres, the course has undergone a plethora of changes and upgrades over the last several years. After my visit this June, it looks like that is going to be the case for the foreseeable future. Looking at UDisc, there are many new holes and tees in different configurations that I haven't even mentioned yet that are planned. This is a property that you'll have a hard time running out of options on or new holes to play. During the round, I met one of the course owners on his way to doing some work on the tee pads on farm holes, C through H, while I was playing hole H. He was very receptive to my thoughts and inputs, some of which were already on the agenda and have been implemented since my playthrough in June. These include the new OB on hole F to better separate holes G and F, the reduction of the tall grass on hole D, and the longer-term plan of pushing back the tee on hole E for the blue and gold layouts. There were also a few other potential ideas that I brought up that were very good reasons for not pursuing, largely due to drainage issues with the land that I could not see and had not explored. The new tee pad and mowing of the main landing area for hole C make that hole not my least favorite hole anymore. My new least favorite hole is hole J. There isn't anything wrong with this hole, it's just that it is a straight, mostly open, straightforward 265-foot par 3, and it's in a spot where not much else can be done with it. There are a lot of courses that I have played where this wouldn't register as a candidate as my least favorite hole, and the idea that on a 30-hole course, I'm struggling to pick a hole that I like the least should say a lot about the course as a whole. Westy Acres has moved up to number 66 in the world in UDisc's rankings in 2026, and yet with all of the work and continuous upgrades that have been made, somehow that still feels underrated. This is a course that with the shorter tees, my 11-year-old son would have fun at without getting overly frustrated, yet there are several holes where the gold configuration has throws that are long enough that I wouldn't have a prayer of making it inbounds off the tee with my noodle arm. There's a lot of fun to be had for disc golfers of literally every skill level here. Thanks again to Westy Acres for the photos and for having this gem of a course that should be on everyone's radar. Check out the link in the description to their website and to schedule a tee time. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other video linked here or the playlist of my disc golf courses of Vermont and New Hampshire linked in the description.